since 2003. This is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Presented by Pipe Wrench, Junk Be Gone, and the Garza Law Firm.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into the Sports Source. We appreciate you joining us today. We've got a packed show here in the Paper Be Gone studio. We're going to be talking we're going to talk Vol baseball right off the bat and tons of Vol football. SEC spring meetings are going on. We'll talk about Tennessee football attendance. We got a lot to cover today. Let's get right into it. First segment of this show today is brought to you by our friends at Junk Be Gone. Just a few weeks ago, I had one of their great big driveway dumpsters delivered to my house. It sat right there in my driveway for a couple of days. This week, I saw 2 more Junk Be Gone dumpsters right in driveways in my subdivision. They're all over the place because Junk Be Gone makes cleaning your home, cleaning your backyard, cleaning all the big junk that you want to get rid of easy. So easy, extremely easy. JunkBeGone.biz is where you can go to learn more about Mike Such and his great family-owned, locally owned company, JunkBeGone.biz. I love this group. You will too. Go check them out. All right. Want to open simply by saying the president is visiting Texas today for memorial services following the mass shooting. That means that ABC News could cut in at any moment over our show today. If that happens, we're going to go right on here as if we're not cut on or cut into, and you'll be able to see the show if you want to go back and check it out in its entirety. If we do get cut off, you can go see it. I'll have it posted by about 4 o'clock today, probably sooner, but by 4 o'clock today you can go watch all 9 segments at sportsource.tv. That's my website, or go to YouTube and look up the Sports Source YouTube channel. Whenever you go to either place, if you're there by 4 o'clock, you're going to see segment 1, segment 2, segment 3, and you can watch it in order. So we appreciate you for being with us today. Hopefully we'll be here for the whole show, but if not, now you know what's coming, and you can check us out online this afternoon. All right. Vince, let's talk UT baseball. The Volunteers are into the finals. They'll be playing at 2 o'clock today against the Florida Gators. They go to, now is it 2 o'clock Eastern? Am I right? That's 2 o'clock Eastern?
No, it's 3 Eastern.
3 o'clock Eastern, yeah, okay. They go to Hoover. Mm-hmm. Weather throws everything left and right and all over the place, but it didn't mess with Tennessee. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were, you mentioned it last week, there are people saying, well, should they rest arms? Should they take the foot off the gas? What's the motivation? You're so far out there. That motivation isn't really an issue with this team. They landed in Hoover and have proceeded to slice and dice their way through the teams they faced, just like they did in the regular season.
Yeah, now in the SEC Tournament Championship game in consecutive years. Did so last year, lost to Arkansas. But this team wants to win, and they showed it. They haven't exactly gone to plan with their pitchers as they used both of the freshmen yesterday, and Drew Beam and Chase Burns. And Burns was fantastic and pretty much closed that game out before it got out of hand late. But you could see the difference between Kentucky having played 5 games, Tennessee just playing their 3rd game. Coming out of that first day single elimination is tough, but this team is hit. They got Jordan Beck back on track a little bit. Yes, and you know, the big ballpark. Everyone's like, oh, Tennessee, all the home runs, Lindsey Nelson Stadium and that little bandbox. Well, they can hit home runs there too, but they're not relying on it too because they've only hit, I think, 3, so they have 140 on the year. So they can win different ways, and they can pitch, only giving up 5 runs in 3 games.
That's why they're scary, I would think, for an opponent facing them. And Vince, you may have a different take on this, but I'm going to throw this out for Bob and Chuck. Mm-hmm. We've seen this in football. You know, Tennessee's got a lead over somebody late, but you know, the other guy's a sleeping giant. You know, here it's Alabama. We know what they're going to do in the 4th quarter. You're not going to shut them down the whole game. It's the way Vanderbilt felt for years going against Tennessee. Wow, we're leading at the end of 3. You're doomed. You look at Tennessee, tied in the 8th last night with Kentucky. It's 2-2. Final score, Tennessee 12, Kentucky 2. I just wonder, and you guys may think so, may think not, do you think there's a possibility that there's a fear factor? Especially with these teams in the SEC who've seen Tennessee do this all year, that you're sitting there with this team and it's like, well, we shut them down today, but there's a fuse and it's already been lit. It's going to go off at some point. Do you think this team's to that point yet?
I think in the SEC it is. I mean, it's kind of like me when I'm watching Aaron Rodgers. You sit there and the Vikings are ahead by 6 with 3 minutes to go, and you just hang your head going, okay,
Here it comes.
he's gonna score. And I think there's probably some of that, especially the SEC teams who have now seen it. And you've lost how many SEC games? 5?
SEC games?
Yeah. How many SEC games has Tennessee lost?
They lost.
Yeah.
Conference was
I mean, that's
Tennessee
just an incredible thing.
Yeah.
You know, there's been football seasons where Tennessee fans said, "Oh, they only lost 5 SEC games this year." You know, so in baseball, I mean, so I think there is something of you're sitting there thinking, okay, the fuse is lit, and I'm just waiting for it to go off.
Chuck, you think that plays into it at all or not?
Yeah, I think as time goes on, it has to. Because how many times has Tennessee even trailed this year? I mean, I think back to maybe the second game at Mississippi State. They came back and won that. But if you're even, you're behind when you're playing Tennessee because they can trot so many arms out there, future first-round draft picks, and they can beat you so many ways offensively, just like Vince was saying. So, yeah, it does get on you because if you're going to beat Tennessee, you have to get the lead and you have to put pressure on them running the bases. And other teams really just haven't been able to do that to get the lead and carry it through.
And something that's kind of understated about this Tennessee team too is they play good defense.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a baseball guy, but they play good defense.
Well, I mean, go back to the Vanderbilt game, the play Trey Lipscomb made at third base on that chopper to bare hand and to throw the runner out. I mean, that's like Chipper Jones 2.0.
SportsCenter top 10. I think to what Chuck was saying real quick, I think those are the baseball things that make the difference is the depth. I think to the
mental aspect.
Yeah, the mental aspect of it with Aaron Rodgers or Alabama or whatever, that's over an extended period of time. I don't know that they've done it enough to maybe have quite that intimidation just yet. Kentucky had beaten Tennessee 2 out of 3 during the regular season. So.
I don't know. I watched my Liverpool team yesterday lose, and they had 5 million chances early.
Yeah.
They weren't capitalizing, and I texted a buddy. I said, "This is one of those games where your football team should be up 21-0, and you're up 3-0." And it's going to catch you. So I think there's got to be some of that you mentioned pressure. I think opponents in the SEC who've seen them all year have to at some level be thinking, boy, it's 2-2. I really wish it were 4-2. We should have made it 5-2. We got to make it 3-2 here.
Right.
And I just wonder if you press a little bit.
And maybe it's connected, knowing how deep they are, knowing
Right.
the answers that they have. Maybe there is a little bit of intimidation because of the fact that they have more depth than one.
Yeah, I don't think it's all intimidation, but I think that's it's hard for me to look at a team that's 45 or 46 and 7 now. More than that.
Yeah.
50.
I don't know.
50.
Yeah.
And they also put pressure on the other team's defense, too. I mean, I've lost count of the games where you see the opponent that normally plays pretty good defense misplay something and make crucial errors just because of how Tennessee plays.
52.
52.
Yeah, 52.
Vince, no way at this point. They've made the SEC finals. Oregon State, who was pushing at number 2 all year, they've kind of dropped off here at the end. I think Stanford or Virginia.
Stanford won the Pac-12, yeah.
So that'd be number 2. There's no way Tennessee, even if they lose today, is not the number 1 overall seed, correct?
I don't see a scenario, nope.
Nobody else, I looked yesterday, and to my knowledge, nobody else in America has single-digit losses.
No.
Maryland, I think, had 10, and I don't know if they've lost since then or not. I was looking at the NCAA baseball league. So the fact that you're the only single-digit team with still single-digit losses tells me you're going to be the number 1 seed.
Yeah, and the RPI, too, that's a big factor also.
Okay, very good. Let me show you what we got coming up today on the show. We're going to talk about Heupel's offense in year 2. There's a lot of talk about, well, it's going to be better because everybody's got a year under their belt. I'll play devil's advocate. Could it be worse because now all the other teams have seen it? So is it going to be better because of experience or worse because of the other guys have experience with it too? Tennessee versus SEC football attendance. We got 4 charts you can take any way you want to take, but it's interesting stuff. SEC spring meetings, a lot going on down there, including talk about an SEC-only playoff. What would that look like? And then Tennessee's SEC success in 21-22. It has been a very good year on Rocky Top. All right, when we come back, though, the start times are set for Tennessee's first 3 football games. We'll talk about those. And should ESPN and the SEC, once the new contract kicks off, should they lock in all the start times before the season so fans know exactly when the games are and they can travel easier? We'll discuss. Come on back.